Good afternoon. My name is Malcolm Macpherson. I'm a legal advisor to Clé Tenay and have been assisting with the Enbridge litigation matter. The purpose of today's overview is to provide an update to those of you who were unable to attend yesterday's community information session on the Enbridge litigation. So I met yesterday with approximately 100 Clé Tenay members on the north side of Reserve Number 2. The river, so the Fraser River, which we could all see from the site where we gathered for the litigation update yesterday, was a sad reminder of the extreme danger faced on October 9th, 2018, when Enbridge's pipeline exploded. Enbridge, of course, prefers to euphemize the event, meaning downplaying it, by calling the explosion an quote-unquote incident. This was not a quote-unquote incident, it was an explosion, which traumatized the entire community and shattered the community's trust in Enbridge's ability to safely and securely transport hydrocarbons through the reserve and Clé Tenay's territory. From the community's perspective, such euphemisms are a perpetuation of a long connected chain of colonial harm and wrongdoing to Clé Tenay. This has to stop. The community learned at the meeting that Al Monaco had flown over the site of the explosion days after the explosion, but didn't think it important to meet with then Chief Dominic Frederick and Council. It was years later, in July of 2020, after repeated requests, that Mr. Monaco finally met with Chief and Council. Mr. Monaco offered up an apology to the community for the explosion and instructed his team, made up of about 6 Enbridge representatives, to do the right thing and to come to a reasonable agreement of settlement with the community focused on safety and economic compensation. To date, Mr. Monaco has not been seen since in the community, and his team has been described by Chief and Council as Calgary-centric and incapable of achieving the vision Mr. Monaco put forward when he met with the community. Mr. Monaco was invited to attend yesterday's community meeting, but advised he could not do so owing to COVID-19 related quarantine rules. Now, I will now walk you through the main updates discussed at yesterday's meeting. First off, we talked a bit about the safety breach findings. So that is the Transportation Safety Board launched an 18-month investigation. They found Enbridge to have ignored several internal reports that suggested corrosion had occurred in that part of the pipeline which exploded. More recently, the CER, which stands for the Canadian Energy Regulator, fined Enbridge $40,000. This fine was tiny relative to the trauma caused. In the nation's view, it was insulting and arguably incentivized companies like Enbridge to defer safety maintenance. This is not right. We also spoke yesterday about a chronology of recent Enbridge explosions and breaches, and I feel it's important to just provide an overview of that chronology. So just bear with me. So in November 13th of 2020, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Director Eichinger of the Department of Natural Resources notified Enbridge that they were revoking Enbridge's right to operate in the Straits of Mackinac. And this was, they said, because Enbridge had repeatedly violated the terms of its easement by failing to support the pipeline safely, and in the event of an oil spill into the Great Lakes, it could be catastrophic to the economy and way of life. On October 9th of 2020, an oil spill occurred in Youngstown, Alberta at an Enbridge pump station. On June 25th, 2020, a Michigan Circuit Court issued a temporary restraining order requiring Enbridge to shut down Line 5 through the Straits of Mackinac within 24 hours. On August 1st of 2019, there was an explosion in Kentucky, which very sadly left 1 dead and 5 injured. On January 21st, 2019, near Summerfield, Ohio, Enbridge's Texas Eastern pipeline exploded. 2 residents were injured, while fire crews were sent to fight secondary fires. Lost in that incident were 3 homes, 2 barns, and 1 outbuilding. And then on December 15th of 2018, there was a natural gas line which exploded near Stone Branch Road in Smith County, Tennessee. And the residents there heard a loud blast. Very luckily, no one was injured. So I've just walked you through a number of very concerning incidents that have happened just over the past few years. And we went through those yesterday. I'll now speak a bit about the status of the litigation and steps taken and to be taken. I explained to everyone yesterday the various litigation steps that have been taken, including a summary of why negotiations ended with Enbridge. The short version of the reason why negotiations ended with Enbridge was described by the past chief and counsel as quote-unquote pitiful. It was a pitiful offer, they said. I explained that a formal letter of notice of the restart of the litigation had been sent to Enbridge. And I explained the next step will be to proceed on the examination for discovery portion of the litigation. And that, of course, is the next step where both parties get to examine the evidence provided and call forward under oath to ask questions. In this case, it would be asking questions of employees, contractors, and experts that Enbridge has retained. And I also spoke about certain experts that we have engaged on the nation's behalf to prepare for the litigation. I'm now going to take a moment to talk about some letters of support that were received by the community. Chief Darlene Logan had explained yesterday that they came in as a surprise and they hadn't been asked for. And there's 2 letters that have come in, and there's a number more that apparently will be forthcoming. One letter, and I'll read the significant or salient portions of the letters. One letter came from the Kamloops Indian Band, and that letter, it's right here. It's dated May 18th, 2021, and it's addressed to Chief Darlene Logan, and it says the following. It says, the Kamloops Chief and Counsel would like to offer its support to the Lheidli T'enneh regarding the lack of meaningful discussion with Enbridge regarding community safety issues and respectful dialogue regarding Enbridge's presence in Lheidli T'enneh's unceded traditional territory. We understand the frustration in dealing with companies that are not open in being proactive in communication and engagement with impacted First Nations. First Nations' full engagement and inclusion with all projects needs to be a priority. There needs to be comfort with all safety precautions. As First Nations government, we are obligated to protect our membership, so safety cannot be compromised for any reason. There must be inclusion in all discussions on safety, including integrity programs. Enbridge appears to want to carry on operations as they have in the past without meaningful First Nation dialogue. We must live in the communities, and we do not view a pipeline as simply a money-generating vehicle or a stock investment. We live with Enbridge's presence in our daily lives. It seems that Enbridge has missed the opportunity to win on both the safety side and also the participation of qualified, certified First Nation businesses. Kamloops Indian Band supports the stand that Lheidli T'enneh is taking with Enbridge. We wish the Lheidli T'enneh all the best. And this letter is signed by Chief Roseanne Casimir on behalf of all of Council. The nation also received a letter from the Hatzel Development Corporation. For those of you who may not know where that's located, it's the Williams Lake area. And this came from this letter here. It was sent by Howard Campbell, who's the Chief Executive Officer. And he writes the following. Dear Chief Logan, the Hatzel Development Corporation would like to offer its support to the Clay-Claytonais regarding the lack of meaningful discussion with Enbridge regarding community safety issues and respectful dialogue regarding Enbridge's presence in Clay-Claytonais unceded traditional territory. The Hatzel Development Corporation has had similar concerns and frustrations in dealing with Enbridge. The T-South line runs through the heart of Hatzel Reserve Land and traditional territory. In fact, the line is within a stone's throw of band member residences, and this is of major concern. Enbridge has announced major integrity digs, which in their eyes will provide evidence to the public and First Nation organizations that all is well with safety and First Nation inclusion. This could not be further from the truth in our opinion, as we have a pipeline maintenance and integrity company being forced upon the Hatzel First Nation. We are not comfortable with this company doing integrity digs in Hatzel territory, and this same company hasn't provided Hatzel First Nation inclusion on any integrity programs whatsoever. One would think Enbridge would have flexibility with First Nations regarding both safety and inclusion. Enbridge appears to want to carry on operations as they have in the past without meaningful First Nation dialogue. We have to live in the communities, and we don't view a pipeline as simply a money-generating vehicle. We actually live with Enbridge's presence in our daily lives. It seems that Enbridge has missed the opportunity to win on both the safety side and also the participation of qualified, certified First Nation businesses. Hatzel is currently exploring legal options in regards to Enbridge's seemingly lack of interest in hearing First Nation concerns and actual follow-through on items which are important to First Nation organizations and their people. In the meantime, Hatzel wholeheartedly supports the stand that Clay-Claytonais is taking with Enbridge, and we may be following suit in the near future. So that's the second letter that's been received, and I'm advised that there's quite a few more that are in process. So I now turn my focus on the key questions and observations from the community members. So the following were the main themes of the Q&A portion. First is safety has been unimproved. There's no bridge. There was no bridge, there still is no bridge. So Enbridge advised it was too costly to pay for construction of a bridge. This continues to be very concerning as the pipelines cross through approximately 1.5 kilometers of the reserve. And on the day of the explosion, a bridge across the river would have provided a safe exit. One member commented that lives may be lost if a future explosion occurs, especially in light of Enbridge's concerning safety record, which I just went through. The other issue that came up repeatedly was trauma. The community repeatedly expressed that the trauma and the PTSD created by the explosion remains and has not been adequately addressed. Some members commented that every time they hear a loud noise, they are triggered and the trauma emerges. The community requested that additional trauma reports be created for the purposes of the pending litigation. The other issue that was talked about was the review of the easement supporting Enbridge's pipelines. So a number of members asked about the possibility of rerouting the T-South pipeline. Accordingly, Clark Wilson will be reviewing the easement in detail with a view to exploring options in this regard, in the spirit of what the Governor of Michigan has done recently in the United States. i.e., is there the possibility or opportunity to ask the minister to revoke the easement? I'm now going to conclude. I've been asked to come back to the community on July 10th, and I believe the meeting start time is 10 a.m. to reconvene with the community and to discuss next steps. I've been asked to bring an associate with me from Clark Wilson to take down further witness impact statements. This will allow additional statements to be taken in as evidence for the trial. Lastly, I've been asked to continue to make myself available to answer community member questions. My contact information is available at the band office. And I've heard from many of you this past year, and I look forward to hearing from more of you. My instructions are to be open and transparent with all of membership. I wish you all a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on July 10th.